Hi there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I have a fabulous card to show you how to make. It's called a Shadowbox card. As you can see, you can look right through it, and so it gives you kind of a shadowy 3D effect. So this is made with our Snowflake Wishes Bundle from Stampin' Up, and that uses the Snowflake Wishes stamp set as well as the matching dies and the stamp cut and embossing folder, which is called Winter Snow Embossing Folder. So I will show you how to make this lovely card. So it's a 3D, stands up like that, and then it actually opens as a proper card. And because of the way it's made, it will fold flat to fit in an envelope. So it folds flat enough to fit in an envelope to send. So I'll show you how to get started and everything that you need to make this card. So this card features the Balmy blue Glimmer paper. So the base of the card is cut at 25 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters, and then I scored in the center at 12.5 centimeters. So you fold that in half to make the base of your card and use your bone folder to burnish it. Then you have two pieces of matching cardstock. So this one is Balmy blue and this one is Shimmery white. So you might be able to kind of tell. I'm not sure in this light. There's a bit of the shimmer going. So those two pieces are cut at 148 millimeters, which is 14.8 centimeters that way. And then this way it is 10 centimeters. Both are exactly the same, and then you score one side at 0.5 centimeter and then 1.5 centimeters, turn it around and score the other side exactly the same, 0.5 centimeter and 1.5 centimeters. So both pieces should look exactly the same there. And then the other supplies you need is Whisper White cardstock for inside the card, and this is cut at 12 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And then embellishments. So in this case, I'm using the Adhesive-Backed Snowflakes. They come in two different colors. So you got more of the white, and the other is more of a shimmery see-through, as well as the the blue Adhesive-Backed gems. So one looks more balmy blue and one looks more kind of greeny yellow. So you use a few of those to embellish it. Balmy blue ink. We're using Versamark and white embossing powder for the inside of the card. So if you have a look, you can see the snowflakes inside have been heat embossed, as well as a few other layers. So I already mentioned the embossing folder for the snowflakes. So got the background done. Next thing you do is fold and burnish those two matching pieces to make the front of the card. So just be a bit careful when you fold the skinny part. It's not that easy. So you fold the wider part first and then fold the skinnier part onto itself. So it's kind of a concertina fold. So I'll hold this up so you can see it. So you can fold it like that. And so it makes that way. So if you want to fold the skinny part first, you just have to make sure it's all going the right direction. And so that's the 0.5 centimeter part folded, and then fold back onto itself the 1.5 centimeter, and then burnish that. And the same with the blue. So I'm folding them in different ways, so whichever works for you. So that time I folded the large one first and then fold the smaller one over. Don't worry if it tears a bit like that one did. You'll be taping it together, so it will not matter. Just be a bit more gentle when you fold it. Okay, so you need to burnish those before anything else, because you'll see there is a method to my madness. Okay, so once I have this folded, I now know where the edge is. So with it going this way, I flatten it out a bit, and I want to stamp the sentiment in the bottom corner first, because that way it will help determine where I cut out the center. So folding it tells me where my corner is, and now I can cut the center, stamp it, and then cut the center. So I'm using the stamp, I'm using a lot of the stamps from the Snowflake Wishes set. So we're going with the Balmy Blue theme. Okay, make sure it's nicely inked up. And then we just want it to go down to this corner, but not over the corner. As close to the edge as you can get. That gives you more room for the die cutting. And just give nice pressure straight down. And straight up. So there, down in the corner there. While I have the blue ink out, I will stamp the inside of the card, which is the Whisper White. And the inside of the card has got the stamp that says Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. I know here in New Zealand we don't have snow at Christmas, but it's still kind of the theme for Christmas at most places. Okay. Got a bit of fuzz on there. So just center it toward the top. Good pressure down and straight up. And then there's a little one with tiny little snowflakes there. So if you want to embellish it a bit, you can add some little snowflakes on either side. And then if we turn it around, we can curve this way. Okay, so that's the inside of the card done. So that's all we're going to do with the Balmy Blue ink. Set that aside. Now, for this piece, we now want to die cut the center. So the center is this nice decorative piece. It's going to cut out like that. So that's why you need it to stamp the words in the bottom corner first, because otherwise if you put this somewhere else it might not fit. So as you can see, that won't work. So turn it around and make sure it goes between these fold lines. So that's why you folded it as well, so you would know where those parts go. So I'm going to run that through the embossing, die cutting embossing machine to cut out that center. Now, while I do that, at the same time, I'm going to cut out 2 snowflakes out of the center, because you're not going to be using that center. So if I cut snowflakes out of the center, I can use those on my cards. So you need to make sure you cut the snowflakes out of the center as well. So you can put it on the magnetic plate is the easy way to do it. And this is our new Stampin' Up's new magnetic plate. Nice long big piece of magnet. So if you pop it on there, line this up how you like, as close as you can to the words, and then just make sure that these dies are not touching the metal of the rest of it, because it might cut into it. So just, I think it might work better that way. There we go. That works better. So that way we cut out the center and we cut 2 snowflakes to use on the front of our card. So I'm going to go do that. Alright, so I've die cut that, and see how nicely it cuts out. So this section would normally be a piece that you would throw away. So I used it to cut the snowflakes out. And then that section there. Now you notice it's flattened our folded burnished lines, but the reason we did that originally is so we could see where to stamp and position everything. Okay, so that center's been die cut. The next thing you need to do with the centerpiece is you need to emboss it. Now, this needs to be done after you've done the die cutting, because again, if we had embossed it first, And then when we run it through to die cut it, it would flatten everything that we had embossed. So now, keeping all the edges out, place it into the embossing folder. It should fit perfectly that direction, and run it through with the folded edge first through the embossing machine. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've run it through the embossing machine, and we open it up, and look at that, beautiful snowflakes everywhere. Now, another reason why we folded and burnished it first, because we wouldn't be able to see those lines after doing all that running through the machine. But because we'd already burnished them, we can easily find and refold our lines. So make sure you do that. You might need to reburnish them, but don't be too rough on them, because you don't want to spoil your lovely embossed snowflakes. So just gently redo those embossed lines. There you go. That's the front ready to go. So set that aside. So the inside, we are going to emboss. So if you have an embossing buddy, it's always a good idea just to rub that on there to get rid of any of the static. This one doesn't matter quite so much because of the fact that if you get the white powder spreading loosely elsewhere, it won't matter because it's supposed to be snow. So I've already gone and put all the snowflakes onto the block. They're already positioned perfectly to fit in that space, which should match up with your spot there, okay? So you can just double check about what height your hole is, and then eyeball where to stamp that. So you need to ink it up with Versamark. Because it's see-through, ink it up well, and that will help the powder stick. Okay. And then you want to stamp. Again, you can just quickly check about where you want your snowflakes to go. I like it that way. And then just put your snowflakes down. So I was slightly off center. The other reason we burnished and folded the edges again is so we know where the center portion to stamp is. So we know to go between those fold lines. Give it good pressure. And while I'm doing that, I get my white powder ready. And nice pressure, peel it off. And then I'll sprinkle the powder over the snowflakes and let it shake a bit. And just get that powder to go in there. Okay, so there's our snowflake. So if you want, you can wipe off any excess there, or you can just tap it off. There. So you can take a little brush if you want to wipe off any of the excess powder, but it doesn't really matter because it's just white snow. So I'm going to take my heat tool and heat the snowflake to melt the powder. Okay, so the powder has been melted, and you can see nice shiny white on that balmy blue background. Looks really nice. All right, and then let's just move that out of the way. So now we want to put it together. So the other thing I forgot to mention is if you use a bit of the balmy blue glimmer paper, so roughly about 15 centimeters by 6 centimeter piece to cut out 4 of the dies. So I've already gone and cut those out ahead of time. So those are 4 of the snowflake dies. So we've got those 4 balmy blue shimmery snowflake dies, and then die cuts. And then we have the 2 shimmery white. You probably can't see because it's so small, but this was out of the shimmery white paper, which was left over in the center. So we have those 2 as well as our beautiful embossed snowflakes. So now we are going to put the card together. So the best way to do it, and one thing you need to remember to do first is your window sheets. I'm not sure if I mentioned at the beginning. You just need a couple scrap pieces of window sheet. That's our little plastic. So a couple scrap pieces, doesn't really matter the size. I think I suggest about 10 centimeters by 1 centimeter, or just scraps of window sheet. That is going to be coming out from the side of the card to have your snowflakes appear in the background there. So these are quite big, and what I suggest is you cut them at a diagonal. So just roughly in the center or at different levels, whichever you want. Just cut a diagonal, and this one I might cut at a slightly different length. Okay? Because when they come out, you can stick them. You're going to stick them on the edge with double-sided tape, and then when they come out, they can come out at an angle, and you can attach snowflakes on there. That makes them look like they're floating. So this is where you need to take the time to figure out what you want to put where. And you need your tear and tape on the sides. So it's easiest to work from the front. So put a little tear and tape down each of those edges. And this is what's going to hold your snowflakes in place. Actually, I told you wrong. So put your tear and tape on the end of the plastic. So once you decide where you want it to be sticking out, so I might stick that one there, and I might pop that one up. So what I'm doing here is, by looking at it this way, I'm determining approximately where the snowflakes would show up coming through. Now don't go overboard, because you want to decorate the front, so maybe just having a couple coming through from different directions will be sufficient. But if you want to put more in the center, that's fine. So I'm just going to turn this over and roughly look if I had one coming there, and if I have one coming down from that way, that might look good. So you can see where the plastic is. So I'm eyeballing where I'm going to have snowflakes showing up there. So once you decide where you want your window sheets to go, put the tear and tape on the window sheet only, and pop it down onto the side about where you want your snowflake to come up. So I want my snowflake to appear there, and then piece of window sheet on the end, tear and tape on the end of the window sheet. And the reason I'm using tear and tape, you could use a glue dot, is because liquid glue does not hold the window sheets very well. So just determining about where you want those to go. Okay, so once you've decided roughly where you want your snowflakes to be floating, and you could have more coming down. If you want it, you could stick it just to the inside and have it coming down just like that. But if you want them coming from the sides, you need to do it before you stick the two pieces together. Then you want to stick them together. This is where you should use liquid glue. Now I know there's window sheet there, but the liquid glue will allow you time to wiggle it in place, and just hold it over first to see if your snowflakes are stamped in the right place. Because if I put it this way, see, I've got my snowflakes too far down. So just decide first of all where your snowflakes are appearing through your window sheet, and then pop a bit of glue on there. You can do this with any stamp set, with any elements of a stamp set. Just cut the center out and then put the elements in there to make it float. It's a really interesting card to do. Sorry about that, my glue is misbehaving. Always happens when I'm trying to do a video. Things don't behave. And that one's being too generous. New one, okay? Just put your glue on the edges we go. And then when you turn it around, you just match up those edges. So you just match them up. That's why you want liquid glue, because you want to have time to match up your edges. And so you can see how I'm trying to match up, just holding my finger at the ends to try to match it up. You don't want to glue the card too shut. You want it to just glue onto that piece there. Hold it for a second or two. And the same with this side. Just match up those two folded areas. And using the fingers at the edge, holding it in place, and then just press it down. Because they are the same size and because they've been scored in the same spot, it should line up. So see how it's lined up nicely? But if you put tear and tape down and then do that, it doesn't give you the option to wiggle it into place. Okay. You can even pull that out and give it a bit of a squish if you want. At this stage you can just go like that. So they're lined up. If you've got some room, you can wiggle it into place. So that is possible going like that. So those ends need to be stuck together, and then you just tuck them back in. So don't go overboard with putting the tape on the edge, because then it'll be just too sticky. Okay, so this is the fun part, the decorating outside of the card. So if you want, you can add some more floating snowflakes. You could cut more snowflakes, you know, if you've got some more supplies to do that. I like to overlap my snowflakes to give them more dimension. So I like to put like the white on top of the blue. When you're sticking things onto the glimmer paper, you do need to use tear and tape or glue dots, because liquid glue will not stick very well onto the shiny side of the glimmer paper. So this one here, I'm just going to put a glue dot right in the center. Where's my glue dots? They're there. So I'll put a glue dot in the center of my snowflake there, and then just layered it up onto the balmy blue one. I'm just going to put it offset so we have the white on this outside. So there we go. And then I am going to see where. So I think I'll pop. So I've got my things hanging here and hanging there. So I think I would like to have one of these. That would be good there. And then just wondering about having a white one coming off there. So it's just a matter of deciding what you want to put where. I might have a blue one coming off there. Maybe I'll do the small blue one there. So if you're going to put it onto the window sheet, again, a glue dot's the best option, or tear and tape. So in this case, I'm just going to pop a glue dot on the back of that. And so you might not be able to see, but see how I've got the window sheet right there? And you can cut them down if you want them, don't want them to stick out so far, but I only just need a little bit stuck on there. So I just need a little bit stuck onto there, and I'm thinking I'm going to go with the big one over there. Let's get that on there. And so I can put that right up there. So I've got those guys floating. This one, trying to decide where I want to put that. And then I still have another white one. Oh, stuck. So this is the hard part, deciding where you want to put where. So I'm going to put that white one with a little dimensional inside so it'll pop up slightly. So if you don't have little dimensionals, just cut one of your big ones down. And I'm just going to cut it into 2 little pieces so I can do 2 sides to it. This always takes me the longest, is trying to figure out where to put my elements when I'm decorating. Okay, so little dimensional. So you want it to be hidden, so just pop it on. See that little white part there? It'll hide nicely there. And that white part there. And so I'm just going to pop that like right on top of those other snowflakes in the center. So it's just kind of floating there in the center. And then I think I'll just, those look good there. So I think I will put these on. So because this is not glimmery, I can use liquid glue on the back, but only put it where you want it to stick to the card. So I want to have like those 3 top parts. So just a little glue. I grabbed the wrong one. Okay, a little glue on each of those parts. And then I'm going to pop that guy right about there. And because you can reach right through, just hold it in place long enough to stick. And then I want to stick this one down the bottom. Oh. And you don't have enough glue, and then you have too much glue. That's how it always happens. Okay. So you don't have to get all the pieces glued, just, you know, enough to hold it in place, because the whole point is it kind of floats. So I don't need to glue down all those edges. You might if you're worried that it will get pulled up, but so there we go. And now some more embellishments. Oh, we forgot the inside, so put the sentiment on the inside. You can use tear and tape, liquid glue, whatever you'd like. For video purposes, I'm just going to put some liquid glue. Pop that in the center on the inside, so you have nice blue all the way around. Okay. And then this part on the outside, again, it's better with liquid glue because you have wiggle room. So on the blue part, there we go. It should have, because it's 1/2 centimeter smaller than that card, you should have just a little bit showing all the way around the edges. So pop it in place. Okay. So wiggle it into place. Okay, and then you can embellish it with some snowflakes however you'd like. So that's when your pick a tool comes in handy. Put the spatula end on, and I will start with some little gems here. Of course we need sparkle because it does say sparkle on there. So I'll put a sparkle there. And we'll put another sparkle somewhere. Maybe we will just have a sparkle on that one. And a big one on my big one here. And then Snowflakes. It's good to do things in odd numbers, so that has a little bit of shimmer. You might not be able to see it in the light, but I'll show you in a minute. And a little snowflake maybe in the center there. And this has uses glue dots on the back of the snowflakes, so it should stick onto the glimmer paper just fine. Give it a bit of pressure there. And maybe even one just on the inside. So I like to do like 5 of the little snowflakes. So pop one about there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and lucky last is going to go right on that one, that little one there. Okay, there you go. So you've got your lovely Shadowbox. You can see everything. It folds down flat for shipping. So just watch out where you put your elements so it won't affect each other when what you put the window sheet pieces on, so they don't bump each other when you do it flat. And then you got your card there. There you go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to see more videos from me, you can click the subscribe button. If you're interested in any more videos or other information, you can go to my blog at papercraftaddiction.blogspot.co.nz. And if you're in New Zealand and don't already have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, you can go to my site at michellekirchley.stampinup.net and have a look at more products. If you'd like to purchase anything, I'd love to be your demonstrator. If you've already got a demonstrator, contact them to purchase these products. They're all current in the holiday catalog. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day.